All right, let's talk about one of the most intense, high-stakes maneuvers in all of aviation. We're talking about landing a multi-million-dollar jet on a tiny strip of steel that's pitching and rolling in the middle of an ocean. You know, they don't really call it a landing, they call it a controlled crash. And today, we're gonna find out why.
So when you picture a naval aviator's job, what do you think is the most dangerous part? Is it getting shot off the deck by a catapult, a high-G dogfight? Well, if you ask the pilots themselves and look at the data, it all points to one specific, heart-stopping moment. So what is it? It's those last few seconds before touchdown, that final approach. This tiny window of time is so incredibly unforgiving that it's responsible for more pilot-caused accidents than literally every other phase of flight combined. Yeah, you heard that right. More than takeoff, combat, everything. So let's break down exactly what makes it so tough.
We're going to tackle this in 4 key parts. First, we're going to enter this bizarre upside-down world called the region of reversed command. Then, we'll get into why a normal landing, the kind you experience on a commercial flight, is a recipe for disaster here. After that, we'll look at the pure, brutal physics of the impact. And finally, we'll see how in the world pilots manage to thread this needle day in and day out.
Okay, first up, the region of reversed command. This is where the basic rules of flying kind of get thrown out the window. For naval aviators, mastering this upside-down world isn't just a good skill to have, it's essential for survival.
So, what is it? Well, imagine driving a car where to slow down, you have to hit the gas pedal harder. Sounds insane, right? That's basically what this is for an airplane. It's a low-speed situation where, to keep from falling out of the sky, a pilot actually needs to add more power just to maintain a slower speed. It goes against every single instinct.
And this chart really shows you just how backward it is. In normal flight, it's simple. Throttle controls your speed, and the stick controls your altitude. But when you're in the region of reversed command, that's all flipped. Now the stick is what you use to control airspeed, and the throttle is what controls how fast you're dropping. Your own muscle memory becomes your worst enemy.
And here's where it gets truly dangerous. If a pilot is coming in a little low, their brain will scream, "Pull up, pull the stick back." But if they do that without jamming the throttle forward at the same time, the result is catastrophic. The airspeed bleeds off instantly, drag skyrockets, and the jet just drops. It falls like a stone toward the deck. Now, that whole upside-down control problem leads us straight to our second point. You know how when you land on a passenger plane, the pilot gently raises the nose right before touchdown for a soft landing? That's called a flare. Well, on an aircraft carrier, trying to do that is one of the absolute worst mistakes you can make. A big part of the problem comes down to the wings on these jets. They're designed for going supersonic. They're short, they're stubby, they're swept back. But at the super low speeds you need for a carrier landing, those same wings create a massive amount of drag. Think of it like a giant, invisible parachute that just keeps getting bigger the slower you fly. So you get this deadly chain reaction. A pilot tries to be gentle, pulling the nose up to flare. But because of those wings, that invisible parachute of drag immediately goes into overdrive. The jet's airspeed dies instantly. And here's the real kicker. You don't get the gentle lift you'd expect. Instead, the plane's sink rate actually increases, causing it to slam onto the deck even harder. And that idea of slamming onto the deck brings us right to our third section, the brutal, unforgiving physics of the impact itself. We've covered the tricky aerodynamics. Now let's talk about the raw force of what's happening. Here's the key principle you have to understand. The force of the landing doesn't just go up a little bit if you're descending a little too fast. No, the force increases with the square of your descent rate. This means that even a tiny mistake, coming down just slightly faster than you should, has an enormous exponential impact on the stress put on the aircraft.
How big of an impact? Let's put a number on it. If a pilot's descent rate is just 20% higher than the recommendation, and that is a very, very small margin for error, the structural load, the sheer force hammering the airframe, jumps by a staggering 44%. And this isn't just about bending metal. Those incredible forces travel right up the landing gear, through the airframe, and directly into the pilot seat. A hard landing can cause serious, career-ending injuries. We're talking about vertical compression fractures of the spine. The human body is just not designed to take that kind of hit.
So, let's recap. You've got controls that work backwards, a technique for a soft landing that actually makes you crash harder, and physics that can literally break your back. How is this even possible? Well, that brings us to our final section, the incredible precision and technology it takes to thread the needle. At the end of the day, it all comes down to this.
hitting a target area just a few feet wide to snag one of 4 steel cables with a tailhook. That's the only thing that can stop a 40,000-pound jet going 150 miles per hour in about the length of a football field. There is absolutely no margin for error.
Now, pilots aren't doing this completely on their own. They have an incredible suite of tools to help them. There's the angle of attack indicator, which gives them a super precise read on what the wing is doing. There's a visual guide on the ship called the meatball, which helps them stay on the perfect glide slope. And, maybe most importantly, there's a human on the deck, the landing signal officer, or LSO, who acts as the ultimate safety check, watching every single move.
So the next time you see footage of a jet landing on a carrier, remember what you're actually witnessing. It isn't just a pilot landing a plane. It's a person fighting their own instincts in a machine that's fundamentally unstable at low speed, managing massive aerodynamic forces, and absorbing a bone-jarring impact, all to hit a tiny moving target. Every single time they do it safely, it's not just a successful maneuver, it's a victory against the laws of physics.